Welcome to this special edition of Out of the Blue that we call Stay on Course. I'm Andrew Oppman. These are periodic programs that we do focusing on the COVID-19 response on campus, but also other changes and developments at the university. Today we talk about the Aerospace Department and its amazing growth and what we're doing to accommodate that growth. On the program, Dr. Greg Van Patten, Interim Dean of the College of Basic and Applied Sciences, and Dr. Chaminda Prellis, Chair of the Department of Aerospace. Well, gentlemen, thanks for joining us on the program. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us today.
Dr. Prellis, this is your 1 month anniversary at Middle Tennessee State University. Welcome. I was hoping you could tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, your background in the aerospace industry before academia, and your prior posting before you came to MTSU.
I was the chair of the aviation department at the University of Dubuque in Dubuque, Iowa, prior to this posting. And I'd spent about 12 years in Dubuque, where I started as a faculty member 12 years ago. Prior to that, I was with Northwest Airlines and also with Delta Airlines as a station manager.
Well, fantastic. It sounds like you've got a lot of experience coming to this job. What about MTSU attracted you to join aerospace?
There's actually several things. The reputation of the faculty probably was the foremost. They have a very good, extensive research background. I've interacted with a number of them at different conferences and things like that. The reputation of the institution, the reputation of the department as being one of the top colleges of aerospace in the country, if not in the world, actually. Those are all kind of part of why I chose to even apply to MTSU.
We're awfully glad you're with us, Doctor. Thank you so much. And Dean Van Patten, you're relatively new in your role as the interim dean of the College of Basic and Applied Sciences. Tell everybody what the dean does and how you support aerospace through your work.
So I get the question about what a dean does a lot. And I've been the chair of the chemistry department for 9 years, and now I'm acting as a dean in the college. The dean's role is a little bit different. I've got a slightly more strategic view of things, looking over the departments, making sure that they've got the right resources to fulfill their needs. Also making sure that the departments are progressing in ways that meet the university's goals. I work a lot more now with state and local government officials, with trustees and advisory board members, with friends of the university, with alumni, and with corporate partners. So all of those things sort of fall under the dean's umbrella.
Well, falling into the dean's umbrella is, of course, the amazing growth of aerospace throughout the years. Can you talk about how it's become really one of our fastest growing programs and what we're doing to accommodate that growth?
Yeah, aerospace really has been growing over the last few years. If you look at our growth over the long term, it's been a very healthy growth rate. Over the past 10 years, we're something at like a 10% growth rate. But as you know, growth of programs, economies, those kinds of things, they don't all happen evenly year to year. And so we've actually experienced quite a spike in growth over the last 2 or 3 years. Peaking in 2018 to 19, we had about a 45% growth of our ProPilot program. And so that's put a lot more students into our airplanes and given us a lot more work to do to get those students through to graduation. It's been a great thing because this program is great for workforce development, but it does present some challenges.
Dr. Prellis, can you reflect for us on why we're seeing such growth and how that really is the result of a national demand for pilots?
Yep, so there's several reasons for that, actually. Part of it is we have a large number of pilots, and it's not just pilots. We're also seeing air traffic controllers, maintenance people. We're seeing people in the management industry as well that are approaching retirement age. And the airlines in the 1990s and even the early 2000s did not hire anybody into their ranks. And because we're seeing some of these retirements, we're also seeing the need to replace all of these individuals that are retiring. Now, I don't know how many folks know this or not, but pilots are mandated by law to retire at the age of 65. Whereas you've got the other professionals that aren't, don't have that type of a deadline. So we're seeing some of that. On the flip side, we're also seeing a lot more demand for air travel. A lot more people are able to afford air travel. So there's a huge demand for it. Airlines are scrambling to add more aircraft, which invariably means we as an institution have to look at how do we go about, preparing and meeting the needs of the industry as well.
Well, I think that puts it very well. Dr. Van Patten, this is an opportunity for MTSU. We're growing, the industry demand is increasing, and it's really prompting us to take some closer looks at how do we best handle that growth and prepare for the future. Can you talk a bit about what that involves? And I realize there's some things we can talk about, and there are a lot of things that we're working quietly to figure out the best solutions. So if you can navigate that for us and talk a little bit about your vision of where we need to go.
You're right, Andrew. This growth has presented a lot of different challenges for us, but it's also presented opportunities. Some of the challenges we've faced have been related, as I mentioned before, to accommodating all of these students. We have a certain number of planes. We have an airfield at Murfreesboro that has a certain capacity. Of course, we're also interested in investing in this program. It's a successful program. We want to support this growth, and we have the resources to put toward it. And we need to do that in a creative way that gives us a long-term vision of where we want to see this program 10 years from now, 15 years from now, not where we want to see it a year or two from now. And so, as you mentioned, we're exploring lots of different possibilities. We're looking at ways to distribute our aircraft beyond just Murfreesboro, and that's one of the possibilities that we may have before us.
Dr. Perlis, I know there's been some chatter on our Facebook pages about what any type of opportunities or change could bring to me as a student. How will this cause my situation to change? But I've always heard both you and Dr. Van Patten say that student success and ensuring that success is very important. Talk about how that plays a role in these discussions you're having.
So one of the things that the faculty is very focused on is to making sure that we're preparing our students for the future, not for what is needed right now, but what kind of skills and what kind of knowledge will they need, let's say 5, 10, 15 years from now, not just for their first job, but for their jobs after that as well. So part of that is we have to look at the big picture, not only on what's going on right now in the industry, but what are the industry professionals and experts telling us we will be facing in 10 or 15 years. For example, things like artificial intelligence, more automation. How do we prepare our students to be successful and be able to interact in such a world? So we've got quite a lot of really, really great opportunities now that we're looking at potentially to prepare these students and even our future prospective students as well.
And beyond those strategic goals, those aspirational things of how do we prepare for the future, we're also very much committed about making sure that whatever changes we make still ensures that students can get the resources they need, get the opportunities they need to have to graduate, and stay really focused on making sure that their journey through MTSU is successful, correct?
Yes, that's correct. We are definitely focused on the students that are here right now, making sure that we've got enough classrooms for them. We've got the appropriate technology for them to use, the appropriate knowledge base that we can provide. We're looking at our faculty as well to make sure that our faculty have the ability to do some of that teaching and some of that passing off that knowledge and skill building also.
Well, Dr. Van Patten, you mentioned being the dean means you're really working a lot with state officials and city officials. Can you talk about just that opportunity to kind of tell our story and really be one of the new players around the table to have that discussion about our future and our growth?
Sure. So Dr. Perlis and I both stepped into this situation right as during this spike in growth. And as I mentioned, this was a little bit of a shock to our system. It also came as a surprise to the city. And so we've been talking with the city. They've brought to us some of their concerns about whether or not the resources at Murfreesboro Airport are sufficient to sustain the growth of our program. And so we've been in conversation with them to make sure that the city and the airport here can continue to meet their goals as the university strives to meet our goals. And so that's one of the things we've been working together. I've been meeting with city leaders and the airport management. We've had very good, productive, and candid discussions. to lay out what our goals are, what the city's goals are. And I really think that we are on the cusp of reaching some good decisions that are going to allow both of us to reach our long-term goals.
Dr. Prellis, you and Dr. Van Patten, you're new to this discussion, like we've been saying. Is that an opportunity to bring some new voices and perspective?
Yes, most definitely. Part of that too is I come from a different set of experiences that I'm hoping that would provide, a benefit to the conversation that we're having with these individuals. In my experience in the last, I want to say probably about 5 or 6 years, I've also had an opportunity to go visit other institutions, other schools to see how they do things. And we've had some of those discussions amongst our faculty as well as the representatives at the airports about different ways of looking at things, maybe reframing how we ask those questions and how we answer those questions as well. So definitely there's a big benefit to both Dr. Van Patten and I being new to this conversation.
Dr. Van Patten, I'd like to thank Dr. Wendy Beckman, the former chair of the department, who's really done some amazing work, and among that work was keeping the department moving forward during the height of the first COVID lockdown and making sure those students stayed on track. I didn't know if you want to have an opportunity to reflect upon that amazing accomplishment by her and her faculty.
Dr. Beckman, deserves a lot of credit. She did a great job, served the department as chair for 5 years, and did bring us through what was a pretty trying experience with the COVID pandemic. Aviation is one of those disciplines that we have in our college where distance learning just isn't going to get it done. There's no substitute for putting the student in the airplane with the instructor and logging hours. That's the only way really to get these guys trained and educated the way they need to be. And so the aerospace department, led by Dr. Beckman and Dean Bud Fisher, deserves some credit on this too, really led us through that difficult time and figured out ways to make that happen without risking the safety and health of the students and instructors that were involved.
Well, Dean, I'm going to give you the last word. One of the things I know that weights heavily upon you and Dr. Prellis is making sure whatever changes we make keeps the forward positive momentum going in the right direction. How important is it for us to make the investments that allow us to keep going as a national aerospace education force?
It is important, and that is certainly one of our goals, is to continue growing and improving, and we aren't going to rest until we're at the very top of number one in the country in terms of our aviation education. But along that way, there's never a time that Dr. Prellis and I forget that our number one priority is student success. Our top obligation is to those students who are already here, who are in our program, and making sure that they can succeed and reach their goals. And so that's what we're doing. And so we need to find a way to grow this program and improve this program and build that doesn't disrupt the current students here. And that's what we're working on right now.
Well, Dr. Van Patten, Dr. Prellis, thank you both for joining us on the program and all you're doing to sustain the growth and success of our aerospace program here at MTSU.
Thank you for having us, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
And that does wrap up this edition of Stay on Course. A reminder, you can find news about the campus 24 hours a day on our website, mtsunews.com. You can also find special features on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm Andrew Ottman. Stay safe, stay on course, and remain true blue.